Hiring top talent in the automotive industry, it's so much more than just a challenge. It's really this high-stakes puzzle that can literally make or break your business. So today, we're going to dig into why the old ways of recruiting just aren't cutting it anymore, and how a truly specialized approach can give you that competitive edge you've been looking for.
All right, so here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll tackle the big hiring problem itself. Then, we'll look at why those jack-of-all-trades recruiters just don't work for auto. After that, we'll dive into what a specialist actually does, talk about why trust is so important, and see how this all gives you a real leg up on the competition. And to wrap things up, we'll figure out if it's time for you to have a different kind of conversation about hiring.
Okay, let's dive right in with the big one, the automotive hiring problem. And look, this is way more than just saying there aren't enough good people. It's about finding those very specific individuals who can actually survive and thrive in what is, let's face it, one of the most complex industries on the planet. And that really brings us to the question that, we hear from executives all the time. Why is this so hard, right? Why does finding that perfect general manager or a solid finance director or just building out your leadership team, why does it feel completely impossible sometimes? So when you look at these challenges all together, yeah, it's a perfect storm. We're not just talking about a talent shortage. We're talking about a shortage of people who can walk in, handle the insane regulatory pressures, and deliver killer results from the get-go. And this right here is exactly where that generic, one-size-fits-all recruiting just totally breaks down. And that failure of the old school way of doing things, it leads us straight to the heart of the problem, the generalist model. You see it all the time. Companies turn to these huge do-it-all recruiting firms, and they quickly realize that just throwing a bunch of resumes at the wall, it just doesn't work in an industry as specialized as automotive. Okay, this slide really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's like two totally different worlds. On one side, you've got your generic recruiter. Their game is speed. They're just pushing resumes, trying to fill a seat, any seat, fast. But on the other side, you have a specialized automotive partner. They are laser-focused on this industry and this industry alone. Their process is all about strategy, and the goal, it's not just filling a seat, it's finding a long-term fit that actually protects your company culture and helps you grow. So, if we agree that the generalist model is broken, what's the fix? Well, the answer is really a whole new category of partner, one that's been built from the ground up specifically for the crazy, unique demands of the auto industry. And this definition right here is so important. When we talk about specialized automotive recruitment, we're not just talking about a service you buy. It's a true strategic partnership. It's a model that's built on a simple but powerful idea that in the car business, you can't separate talent from culture or compliance from performance. They're all tied together. And to really win, you need a partner who understands that, who gets the entire picture. And just to be clear, this isn't about some firm that just dabbles in auto recruiting on the side. We're talking about deep, deep specialization across the entire ecosystem, from the showroom floor of a dealership all the way to captive finance companies and everything in between. A real specialist knows the tiny differences in each sector. They literally speak the language. And that expertise, it's not just reserved for finding your next CEO. A true specialist partner gets the entire talent pipeline, from your top-performing producers on the front line all the way up to the C-suite. And having that complete, holistic view, man, that is an absolute game changer when you're trying to build a team that's built to last. Now, this kind of expertise, it doesn't just pop up overnight. In an industry that is so driven by relationships, it's something that's forged over decades. We're talking about decades of getting real, measurable results. It's a reputation that's built on solid trust, not just a bunch of slick marketing hype. And this quote, wow, it really says it all, doesn't it? It gets right to the heart of what high-stakes executive recruiting is all about. Discretion is everything. The fact that a firm's biggest wins, their most important partnerships, are the ones they can't talk about, that tells you everything you need to know about the level of trust they've earned from some serious players in the industry. A lot of that credibility comes down to stable, experienced leadership. When a firm is led by someone who's been in the trenches, a seasoned pro like Elin Van Lier, who has that deep institutional knowledge of how dealerships and finance really work, well, all those long-term relationships they've built over the years become a huge asset for their clients. It's really the difference between hiring some faceless corporation and bringing on a true trusted advisor. Okay, so we've talked about the specialist model, and we've talked about the credibility that comes from decades of trust. Now for the big question. What does this all mean for you? Let's connect the dots and see how this actually translates into a real, tangible competitive edge for your business. See, the whole process is designed for strategic outcomes, not just quick fixes. It all starts with a super deep dive into your company's culture. We're talking way beyond just reading a job description. Then, it's all about making sure the talent they find is actually aligned with the complex, tricky compliance realities of our industry. From there, the focus shifts to long-term retention. Because what's the point if they leave in 6 months, right? And the ultimate goal, the whole point of it all, is to protect your revenue and build that strong leadership pipeline for years to come.
And this really gets to a fundamental shift in how you have to think about hiring. This is not about just filling empty seats. We have to get past that mindset. A strategic hire is one of the most critical business decisions you can make. It's about protecting your revenue, reinforcing your culture, and ultimately securing the entire future of your company. So, thinking about it that way, it leads to a pretty important question, right? When is it time to say, okay, the old way isn't working, and really embrace a more strategic approach? Let's figure out if a specialized partner is the right move for your organization right now. So take a look at this list. If you find yourself nodding your head to any of these, well, it's probably time for a new game plan. Are you just getting hammered by high turnover in your most critical roles? Are you constantly struggling to find people who are the right cultural fit? Or maybe you're at a huge moment, like planning for succession or a big expansion. These are the signs, these are the signals that a strategic hiring partner isn't just a nice to have anymore, it's an absolute necessity. So, if you're ready to finally take that next step and start solving your own automotive hiring puzzle, starting a conversation with a specialist is really the best place to begin. You can find out more and get that dialogue started over at automotivepersonnel.careers. Thanks so much for tuning in.